again, I'm Max Porterfield, President and CEO of Callinex Mines. We trade on the Toronto Venture under the ticker CNX and down the States under the ticker CLLXF. Callinex has a long storied history that goes back and really resonates with what we're doing today. IPO'd in 1927 with a small mine in FLIN, Manitoba, which is in northern Manitoba in the FLIN Greenstone Belt. I had a number of different economic discoveries throughout the company's history. Most notably, HUDBAY discovered what is now the 777 mine in 1993. In 2004, it started paying a very large royalty to Callinex Mines at the time. And then in 2011, they split the company into two entities. Callinex Mines became Callinex Royalties and was later acquired last year by Altius. And then Callinex was spun out with the exploration portfolio. I took over as President and CEO in mid-2014, and since then we've restructured and refocused back to the company's history to explore for and develop high-grade polymetallic zinc, copper, gold, and silver-rich VMS deposits in Canada. So quickly looking at the recent share price performance, we have had a recent pullback on some recent news that we put out yesterday morning that we'll discuss here. You can kind of see that. This is as of yesterday, actually. So we're trading at 35 cents a share of 288,000 shares roughly trade on a daily basis, 77 million shares out, 4 million warrants, 10 million in cash, giving us just roughly about a $15 million enterprise value, sitting at the $27 million market cap. Our largest single investors, Resource Capital Funds, they're a private equity fund based out of Denver. And then Sprott, the Sprott Group recently did a financing, our second largest shareholder, just last November. I'm really quite honored to be surrounded by such great technical experience and expertise. Our technical team we've built to refocus on the VMS exploration that we're doing is associated with three of the four largest mines in the FLIN camp's history. Our chairman, Mike Maslowski, is a member of the Canadian Mining Hall of Fame for the discovery of numerous mines, both in FLIN as well as outside the camp. Our chief geologist, Jim Piquel, is associated with the discovery of four mines in the FLIN Greenstone Belt, former head of Anglo's VMS arm. The largest mine that he's been associated with discovery of is the 777 mine, which he was a recipient of the Bill Dennis Award for. And Alan Vowles, our chief geophysicist, won that same award for the Lawler Lake mine that went into production by HUDBAY in 2014. So again, they've found numerous mines within the camp and also have quite a bit of extensive track record outside the belt as well. A little bit more about the FLIN district. It's got a long history that dates back well over 90 years. In fact, you've had 91 years of continuous production across 32 mines. Roughly half of the discoveries ever to be discovered in the camp have seen some sort of economic production. And that history leads to the infrastructure that's in that camp that really reduces your timeline and upfront capital to make a project economic and to move it forward quickly. With that being said, I think really a lot of the exploration that's been done in the camp historically has been shallow exploration within the first 200 meters at depth. If you look at the chart here to the bottom right, you can see that the more recent discoveries in the camp's history and for the large deposits, we're talking over 20 million tons, which would be Trout, 777, and Lawler Lake, are all made at depth. We're looking at 800 meters vertical depth for both the Lawler Lake and the 777 discoveries. This is our land package. You can see us in red here. We've got the FLON project due to the west and the Pine Bay project to the east. All the black dots are historic mines, so you can see the prevalence of these being in these camps and how often you see a mine. The easiest place to find a mine, they often say, is within the shadow of a head frame. You can see that we have road access, rail, power, water, obviously is real prevalent with the lakes, and then in the town there in FLIN is where all that infrastructure is in the 777 mine. That 777 mine has just got about a 3-year mine life. It's coming to an end in 2020. They've been very vocal about that. The only other mine that feeds this facility is the Reed Lake mine that will cease production next year. So you have an infrastructure that is in need of new ore, and we've got a land package that's been underexplored and really hasn't been explored in the past 20 plus years until we reinitiated exploration in 2014. So we're currently exploring, and the vast amount of exploration dollars has been at the Pine Bay project, the Pine Bay area, the Pine Bay project, which is to the north here. Now, the previous companies that have explored the area are Plasterdome and Inmet. Plasterdome had a 30 million ton exploration target. Inmet had a 20 million ton exploration target. And they all really kind of hypothesized that there'd be a discovery for such a large potential based upon the geological environment that you see at the northern area of the property. So what this encompasses is the Baker-Patton felsic volcanic complex you can see highlighted in the checker marks there. Now, why that's key, it's the largest known felsic rock package that's been mapped at surface. Quite simply, 90% of any of the ore ever mined in the FLIN-FLON camp has been hosted in the felsic rocks with which this area covers. Now, that coupled with what's known as an alteration zone. The alteration zone basically goes back to the size of the volcanic event that would have taken place there. The bigger the volcanic event, the bigger the deposit would be associated with that because these are, again, displaced by volcanic activity. So again, the large felsic package coupled with a large alteration zone has really always led people to believe that there'd be potential for a very large deposit to be discovered at depth there. So just last October, November, a few months ago, we were doing our winter drilling campaign. We had had a lot of knowledge based upon the previous 3 drilling campaigns that we had done at the project since reinitiating coverage or exploration in the area. You can see that these are the 3 known horizons at surface at the Pine Bay project. We had identified through hitting this hole 8 through stratigraphic drilling last summer that the interpretation in terms of where exactly these horizons are, and the horizon is quite simply a period of time, essentially, where this volcanic activity took place. With that being said, we made the decision to re-enter a historic drill hole 284-3-93 that was drilled by Plasterdome in 1993. They had stopped that hole at 950 meters downhole. They attempted to put a borehole survey down that hole which would test for conductivity in the area. And this is, again, at the infancy of borehole geophysics. When they surveyed it, they didn't see anything of anything ahead of the hole. We decided to extend that hole 38 meters. That's when we hit 10.3 meters of 13.1% zinc equivalent. The reason why they didn't see it is it's very lowly conductive because there's not a lot of chalcopyrite or copper, and there's no pyrrhotite there. So with that being said, that discovery hole led to us raising $7.5 million between the Sprott financing and warrants being exercised in the month of December. And we've began a step-out program. Here's a step-out program that we've announced just yesterday, the 2 step-out holes, hole 17, hole 19, and then we were extending wedge 2 to the adjacent horizon, didn't hit any significant mineralization. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of opportunity at the project. We currently have amended the exploration program to be able to survey hole 19, which we're just stopping the rig right now, as well as 9502 to look for anything conductive. Again, each one of these squares is 200 meters, so there's the average strike length for a mine in this camp is 200 meters. So we're going to have drilling along the long strike across that entire horizon that's never been drilled, and then use that as a basis or a platform for borehole geophysics. But again, the discovery is a proof of concept that you've got high grade over significant widths at depth within this large volcanic system. And we're going to, again, aggressively continue exploration there with 2 rigs. Aside from that, last April, we acquired 3 zinc-rich VMS deposits in eastern Canada. The focus again, was to use our technical team's experience and knowledge of the Canadian VMS space to go after and position the company to gain additional exposure to a rising zinc environment. So with that being said, we acquired the Point Leamington project in Newfoundland, as well as the Nash Creek and Superjack project in the Bathurst camp of New Brunswick. And we're excited to also get these moved forward and possibly spend them out, joint venture them, and create more value for our shareholders based upon the acquisition of those. So with that being said, I think Callinex really represents all the things you want to look for in an aggressive exploration company. We've got a strong team associated with numerous world-class discoveries. We've got a tight capital structure, 77 million shares out, some very supportive shareholders, $10 million in working capital today, and then again, a project portfolio that's strategic in nature, outside of the HUDBAY'S FLIN-FLON operations that's in need of ore, as well as 3 zinc-rich deposits in eastern Canada. If you have any questions, feel free to come by the booth. Be happy to have that conversation with you. And again, we trade on the Toronto Venture under the ticker CNX. And thanks so much for having me.